Welcome back, Homesteaders. We're about to dive into episode 7 of Stray Gods, the roleplay musical. Really excited. We're gonna start off where we're at with Persephone. I'm about to hit up some drinks. And I threw out my wild predictions last time that I think Athena's the culprit. But we're not throwing out Pan or Apollo.
Apollo. Always so dramatic. And well done, by the way. You may be the very first person ever to talk sense into Aphrodite.
I still don't know if I did the right thing.
Well, it was never up to you, Grace. The choice has always been Aphrodite's. Look at it this way. At least she has a chance now. And whether she uses it, we'll see. I remember the last time I passed on my Eidolon. 1952. I was married to, I'd say you'd call him a gangster. More of a thug. A mean, vicious little thug. Persephone saved me from him. Tore his head clean off. But not before he fired a shotgun into her chest. My chest? Whatever.
Oh, well, that sounds awful.
It was. Though not as awful as being his wife. We all have our sordid history, our personal horrors, building up like sediment around our souls. You can't let it bury you, Grace. You are the only one who can keep your head afloat.
You're incredible. You know that?
There's no need to be facetious, Grace.
No, really.
I am incredible. It's true. It's good that you recognize this.
Okay, I take it back.
Oh, you can't take it back, Grace. I would have thought you'd learned that by now.
Yo, what's going on here?
After centuries of cruel injustice, everybody working against me, every idol but for one, violent with apathy. We couldn't reach a resolution, but you and I, I'm queen of the underworld, and you praise you. Something seems familiar about you. Have we met some lifetime ago? Gods like me don't have too much to hope for. The rules been fixed throughout the ages. So I have forged a daring path. I would like to make some changes. You see, we can win a revolution, you and I, you and I. I'm queen of the underworld, and you, Grace, you are a queen, you're old, your dominion, and in my opinion, you're on the right track. It sounds like they heard you, defied or usurped you. It's time that you kick them right back. You've got one big mouth on you, don't you? Yet it's me who's closing in. Think I like that mouth on you, won't you? You've overstayed your welcome.
Yo, what the fuck?
Time to go home.
Don't be emotionally unavailable, you.
Get out of here, Grace.
That's kind of shitty. Thanks. Yo, that's like big shitty. Alright. Let's hit up. Ready.
Hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse.
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I stopped the goddess of love from killing herself, I guess.
Whoa. Do gods have interventions? You know, they're nothing like I thought they would be. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
No.
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is Kaz
Oh.
Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Do you know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9, though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched. So they got that part right, at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
Yo, what a hero.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her, then. Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost, but also what might still be out there.
Interesting.
What about Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean, Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan. And no, they aren't all like that. Our sun god had a reputation.
Interesting.
Tell me what you know about Persephone.
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
And that's it? She was kidnapped by Hades, end of story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right, that doesn't sound like her at all.
Must be hard to be defined by this one thing that happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true. You said Pan was some kind of lust god, right?
Gotta miss you.
Kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into a sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil. Weirdly, he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
Oh, I will.
You think there might be other gods out there?
There are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies, hundreds of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? All those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere and no one would know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
Yeah, that's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
Okay.
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but even they rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Yeah, dude,
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
Okay, that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Alright. Let's go back to Persephone. She rejected me. Did I say day 5?
You've returned. I'm glad. I've had time to do some thinking. After Aphrodite's party, we never really spoke about the Eidolon and Calliope's memories. No doubt you have many questions.
Apollo told me a little about it. He did say I should talk to you, though.
Did he now? Is there anything you'd like to ask?
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
We call it passing on. I've lost track of just how many times I've passed on my Eidolon. A dozen? It's happened less often in more recent eras.
And the one you told me about, the woman married to that gangster? She was the most recent?
I don't think of Chastity as a she. That was me, just as the one my husband blasted with a shotgun was also me. It was one of the few times I wasn't able to prepare my successor. We were friends, yes, but I didn't know what Persephone was, and I had no idea what I'd just become.
That must have been difficult.
It was more difficult taking over my dead husband's territory. Women weren't often mobsters in those days.
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
First, you'll have dreams. Places you've never been, people you've never met. But unlike with normal dreams, these will linger. Then they will come while you're awake. Sudden flashes or snippets of déjà vu. And sometimes it will seem so real you'll swear you're hallucinating. If there's anything difficult about the process, is that it becomes hard to differentiate between your life and all these other lives you're now recalling.
It does sound confusing.
Confusing and often unpleasant, as not all the memories will be fond ones. But that will pass in time.
Were you really a gangster? I've heard it said, but it sounds...
Let me put it this way. I felt as if I'd been blessed by a dying woman who saved me from a prison of my own making. I didn't know what I was, but I was free. I felt more alive than I'd ever felt before, and strong enough to toss an ox 10 feet. Did I set out to become a mobster? Not exactly. My husband's friends thought I'd murdered him, however, so they came after me. And one thing led to another.
Oh, I see.
Athena found me just as my memories were starting to return. I wasn't permitted to continue doing something so noticeable, so I was carted off to Olympus. It's too bad, really. I was an excellent mobster.
Wait, you said that Persephone passed on her eidolon as she lay dying. What if she had just died?
The eidolon will keep us alive for a time, even in the most horrific circumstances, in hopes that there's someone to pass it on to.
What if there isn't? What if Chastity had died before you were shot?
Well, then the line of Persephone would have ended then and there. Oh, there are some stories that say an eidolon will go wandering, that it never really dies. And who knows if there's any truth to that. It's not exactly something we've had the opportunity to study. All we know is that many idols have left us forever. They've died, and that's how it happens.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
How do I explain this? Grace, would you say that you are who you are because of your experiences? The things you've lived and done?
I guess so, sure.
Well, all the things Calliope has done, and those before her, will now be yours. They will feel like a part of your life as well. Thus, they can't help but shape you. The Grace that is now will be and will have done so much more. Fortunately, you don't have to deal with every memory. Each time the eidolon passes on, the oldest memories fade, and that helps.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
Think of how old we are, Grace. If all those memories returned to you with perfect clarity, they would destroy you.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Well, far more than we remember. The further I think back, the more it becomes a bit of a blur, actually. You'll recall important moments. Some will be mixed up with the stories mortals tell, and you won't be sure which is the memory and which is the story. An idol's memory is a series of islands in a dark ocean, and they become smaller and smaller as they recede into the horizon. It sounds dire, but you become accustomed to it. It just takes time, and now you have all the time in the world.
It's a lot to consider, assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Either the trial will end poorly, in which case all of this is moot, or it will end well, and you will have plenty of time to digest.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
I'm a realist, Grace. It's what I'm best at. Now then, unless you've something else to ask.
Are you willing to talk about Hades? If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just...
Incredibly curious how I ended up murdering my husband?
that, yeah.
You know, one might think that my hatred of Hades began when he kidnapped me and forced me to be his bride. But honestly, that wasn't it. I hated my brothers and sisters for letting it happen, but Hades himself terrified me. He had a presence. I mean, one that forever made him the most important man in the room. And me? Oh, I was nothing in comparison. When Hades began doting on me, trying to earn my favor, I swooned that he might deign to think of me that way. For centuries, I actually thought I was in love, that the kidnapping was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's funny how our perspectives change.
If you got along with Hades for so long, what changed?
I did. I grew up. I was a trophy for Hades, a conquest that he expected to remain meek and unchanging forever. He went out of his way to keep me small. I slowly realized that, he'd always been that way. Manipulation and arrogance behind the handsome sneer. We battled for centuries. I hated him, and I told him so, but he refused to part with me. He declared that I was his and would stay in the underworld where I belonged.
And that's when you killed him?
That's when I killed him, yes. The first time one idol had ever murdered another. Thank you very much.
First but not the last, apparently.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Oh, yes, that's where I'll be. Around.
Bro, I got 2 more days. And then even Act 3
This must be the Viper's Nest. Scariest part of town, no sign. Just that one dude glaring at everyone. Well, I'm here now. Just another day in the life of an idol.
There you are. Man, this place is the worst. I think someone peed on me.
Freddy? What are you doing here?
What, you thought I wouldn't notice you skulking off? You didn't even bring any equipment, Grace.
I wasn't gonna ask you to come, but I am glad you're here. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Fantastic. Neither do I, but we can do it together.
I was kinda hoping you had some advice.
I was thinking backup, but I can do advice. Who knows? Maybe the stuff I know about Medusa might actually apply. Well, that'd be a switch.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you know about Medusa?
Well, she was human once, right? And she was cursed?
Apollo mentioned it, yeah.
Cursed by Athena. Or so one of the stories goes, anyway.
But doesn't she work for Athena?
Hey, don't look at me. My knowledge of this stuff stops at a few thousand years ago.
Do you think she actually turns people to stone?
Let's hope not, or this could be a short visit. Or a really, really long one.
I'm serious!
Perseus used a mirror to reflect Medusa's gaze back at her. Oh, maybe you could use your phone.
You think that would work?
Unless you brought a mirror, Grace, it's all you got.
Okay, enough talking. Time to do this.
You have a plan for how we're getting inside, I hope?
Maybe. You're here to help?
Always.
Then I have a plan.
Grace, you're not... of course you are.
Hi there.
Viper's Nest is closed. Private party.
Yeah, the private party is what I'm here for. Why else?
All the guests have arrived. Do you have an invitation?
Oh, he's got a point.
Does an idol need an invitation?
Go on in. I'll send word to the boss you've arrived.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
What a long day, hiding in the light. Such a long day, dreaming of tonight. This sacred bite. Hello, who's that there? You've messed up my flow. Just get your drink, girl, and take your seat. Oh, it's the muse. There are sacred bites, and then there's this sacred bite. So wrong, so right. I'm really gonna hate myself tonight.
Before you start the show, Pan said to say hello. That's what he said to say.
Well, any friend of Pan's is a friend of Pan's.
Okay. I hate to interrupt your flow. There's just some things I need to know. I wish there was another way.
Yes, you do. Now, look into me. Your body goes freely every time I see it tenders turning jelly. I see it renders. What'd you say, Grace? You okay, Grace? Where's the game face this time? You are currently experiencing something I like to call the preparation. Any questions or comments? That's right, it is widely known that I can turn folks to stone. But oh, I won't this time. Cause this time I find dine that oozy musy bloods my wine this time. Look into me. Oh, she's looking away. Hey, look
You flipped that hood.
me.
Then out came the snakes. Oh, you're so good. Finally, some steaks. Oh, the ice. What a difference an actual monster makes. Athena made you like this.
She was mad at me, so
Well, why was she mad?
she said I'd been bad.
Had you been?
No. Now look into me.
Listen, Medusa. She hides you in shame, but she uses you all the same. You could live another way. If I was treated like you, I'd be a monster too.
That's kind to say, but you could never be a creature like me. You didn't kill
Calliope. So you know that it's true that
Okay. It's dinner time. You're not gonna watch?
Fine grace. Don't you see, Medusa? You are just her tool. Your queen's a user. You're Athena's fool, Persephone. She's a friend to me. We can get you free.
You think that will hurt me, child? You have not done your homework.
Oh, sorry, just trying to get your attention. Yeah, I've been watching, and I'm willing to bet you can't turn me to stone before I burn your snakes off.
Hey, stand down, Freddy. Let's give Medusa some space.
Yeah, okay. I'm watching her, though.
You ready to talk?
Oh, fine. Fine. What exactly is it that you want, pretty muse?
You were at the reliquary the night Calliope was murdered. I want to know why.
Blast! This is why I didn't tell Lady Athena. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I only followed pretty Calliope to the reliquary. I never spoke to her, never even caught up to her. I swear it.
That's what Asterion told us, more or less.
But you were there that night.
Yes, I admit it. Ugh, Lady Athena will have my head. She'll mount it on a pike. Whatever you might think of me, I had no part in the muse's death. I did not even know she'd been attacked until I saw her fleeing.
You followed Calliope to the reliquary. Why were you shadowing her at all?
I am Lady Athena's spy master, yes. Calliope has been trouble from time to time.
So you were spying on her?
I keep watch over every idol who no longer lives in Olympus, but especially Calliope. When I realized she was headed to the reliquary that eve, I followed. I had a duty to Athena.
Did you ever find out why Calliope went there?
I was never close enough to ask. When I drew near to the reliquary, that is when I saw the muse fleeing. She was frightened, bloodied, dying.
Let me guess, that made you hungry.
I gave chase, yes, but to discover the truth. I knew Lady Athena would wish to know.
That does make sense from your perspective.
I didn't learn the truth until later. And then it was far too late.
You haven't told Athena any of this?
Do I need to light things up again? 'Cause I'll do it.
I told her Calliope was at the reliquary that night. I did not tell her I was also there.
Why not? Wouldn't Athena find out from Hecate anyway?
I was not thinking clearly. I panicked. Lady Athena barely tolerates my presence as it is. If she thought I was involved in any way, if she even suspected...
Why should we believe you? You did just try to eat me, remember?
I am telling you the truth.
Right, and not at all trying to cover your own ass.
You presented an opportunity. Oh, to taste the sweet, sweet blood of a hero once again. It's a problem. I've been working on it, I really have.
Uh-huh.
Well, what of Pan? The only reason I knew Calliope was going to the reliquary is because he informed me.
Interesting.
So much for never lying to me.
What were the odds, honestly?
Let's put a pin in that for the moment, shall we?
I am a monster. It's true, I do not deny it. It's still, I did not kill the muse.
I believe you.
Asterion said he caught up with you out in the fog. Is that right?
I thought he was the one who had attacked her. He is a great beast of a creature.
He killed Hecate's cat by accident, but this still seems hard to believe.
Yes, I only realized my mistake once I caught up to him, and by then the muse was gone.
And you never found her afterwards?
I thought she might flee to her pretty home, or to the sharp and prickly Persephone. She did neither.
Yeah, she came to see me. Okay, let's say we believe you. For the moment.
Whatever you do, pretty muse, I beg you. Do not tell Athena of my indiscretion. Show mercy. I know what I am horrifies you. It horrifies me as well. I cannot help what I am. I did not ask to be cursed like this.
Indiscretion, huh? That's quite the word for it.
I cannot apologize for my hunger. I can only apologize that I am so very weak in the face of it.
I'll think about it.
I am a lost and cursed thing. No idol. If Lady Athena should learn the truth, I hope you find what you seek, pretty muse. And that we meet again someday. And sing a different song.
I like her. I feel bad for her.
He knew. Right from the start, Pan knew Calliope was there that night.
Yeah, and who could have foreseen that he was lying to you the entire time? Who, I ask you, a mystery even the Oracle couldn't have penetrated.
Yes, fine, you were right, Freddy, as always.
Ha! See, was that so hard? Anyhow, you probably have a few questions for Mr. Goatman. I'll see you at home.
Hey, I really appreciate all your help, Fred.
Right? I am so good at this. Who needs to be an idol?
Is this where you offer to be my kick-ass high priestess?
Am I not already? Seriously, am I not?
I love it. So good. If it's this guy, would be so upset.
Oh, if it isn't, the lovely Grace?
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
Well, yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked. I told you I didn't know what happened to Calliope, and that's the truth. I did not. So I nudged you in the right direction.
And lied about why.
I omitted things, yes. I was rather hoping to avoid suspicion falling my way.
I've never lied to you, Grace, and I never shall.
Medusa learned that Calliope was going to the reliquary because I told her. Now, before you say anything, I had no idea of the fate awaiting our dear muse, and you yourself said Medusa was not responsible. I simply had to know if I'd inadvertently, rather innocently...
Sold her out? She came to you for help, and you gave her whereabouts to the highest bidder.
I am trying to help, Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
The way where I don't take all the blame.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
I wish I could tell you, Grace. I truly do.
Oh. Day 6? Bruh. Alright. What time is it? Alright, cool. It's already 40 minutes. I'm gonna scroll through these journals real quick, just so y'all can read them. And then I'm gonna end the episode. So, Right on the Calliope. While I scroll through this, I will talk about who I think. Definitely not ruling out Pan. I still want to say Athena, but it's possible Persephone did it, or possibly the Minotaur or Hecate. Don't think it's Aphrodite. Don't think it's Eros. Who else? Hermes? I don't know. Because from what I know of Hermes in Greek mythology, he helps ferry the dead to the underworld. Even though we've never been to the underworld yet. I definitely don't think it's Medusa. Alright. Well, I'm going to end the episode here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for coming along so far for the journey. Looks like we're going to be reaching the end soon. Alright, goodbye.